Morning, everybody. Even though we're going to have a relatively short lecture this morning, that does not make what we're going to be talking about any less important. We're going to talk about a particular kind of crisis intervention. Now, we've talked a lot about crisis intervention in basically every class you've ever taken with me. We've talked about what is a crisis, how do people perceive a crisis, how does a crisis proceed, how to respond to a crisis, how not to respond to a crisis. Today we're going to be looking at two very particular types of crises, and that is any situation where you feel that in your best clinical judgment, somebody is a danger to themselves and or others. They are a threat to hurt or kill somebody else. They are a threat to hurt or kill themselves. The first legal and ethical standard I want to address here is in your best clinical judgment. Obviously, these are not assessments we take lightly. However, again, as I've said many times before, I prefer to err on the side of caution and apologize after the fact than not be cautious enough and end up with literally a dead body that I have to deal with. The other thing to, of course, keep in mind is that you need to document very thoroughly your decision-making process, what you have seen, what you have heard, and how you have arrived at, in your best clinical judgment, this person is a danger to themselves or others. So lots of good documentation as always. Once you have made that clinical assessment, that clinical judgment that you, in your best judgment, this person appears to be a danger to themselves or others, the next two concepts that I want to introduce are duty to warn and duty to protect. What these legal concepts and ethical concepts say is that once you have made that determination that somebody is a potential threat to themselves or to others, you then have a legal, ethical, I would say even moral responsibility to protect that person from themselves, to protect others in the broader community from this person, and to warn appropriate authorities, appropriate persons, so that that person and the broader community can all be protected. Again, I think we are better off to err on the side of caution than to trust and hope that things won't potentially play out negatively. Once you have made that decision and at some point you have gotten all the documentation, or you may not be able to do it right in the minute, a lot of times this comes down to contacting emergency response personnel. Certainly in the case of somebody that you feel is a danger to others, call 911, activate the police, let them do what they are trained and best at, which is apprehending and managing that particular person. Now, in the case of somebody who's a threat to themselves, again, you're going to have to do some assessment. We often use the assessment, the kind of the thin down assessment of, does this person have a plan about how they're going to hurt or kill themselves? How lethal is that plan? There's a great deal of difference between a plan where I'm going to, use a firearm versus I'm going to sit outside and die of exposure. And then the third criteria we have to look at is, does the person have access to the means to carry out their plan, however lethal it is? Again, there's a difference between somebody says, well, I think I'm going to blow my head off or blow my brains out, but they don't have a gun, they don't have bullets, they don't, versus the person who says, yeah, I've got such and such firearm, it's in the glove compartment of my car, I've bought these bullets because they do blah, 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 So again, you want to look at those three criteria. What is the plan? What is the lethality of the plan? And does the person have the access means to carry out the plan? Again, you're going to always err on the side of caution. If in your best clinical judgment, this person has a plan that is lethal and the ability to carry it out, the access to carry it out, then again, you're going to activate 911. You're going to get an ambulance, possibly also police. You're going to get this person transported to a locked, secure psychiatric facility where they can be monitored, again, protected from themselves, and hopefully start some kind of a treatment response. Now, in other cases where perhaps the plan is not as well thought out, not as lethal, there's no access, then you can begin to look at negotiating with the client for some kind of a safety plan, some kind of a contract where they will agree not to hurt themselves. They will, commit to whether it's therapy or just, and sometimes the word therapy will scare people, so you might have to use meet with me. Um, Again, there's a great deal of latitude in there in terms of our response once we have established uh, these these various criteria. Again, we use our best judgment, and we always err on the side of caution, and we document, document, document everything in these type of situations. I know this was brief. I'm going to leave. I'm going to wait to see what questions and comments you have on the discussion board. If there's a need, I'll do a follow-up video to this and post it on Thursday. Have a great day. I understand the weather's going to be great until it's not. So hopefully you'll be able to get outside and enjoy a little bit of fresh air and sunshine. See you soon.